Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship's first ever virtual Opportunity Talks breakfast and our only fundraiser of the year. I'm Jane Park, founder and CEO of Toki, proud WSOS board member and your host for today's program. It's such a pleasure to be here with you this morning. As you can see, right now, I'm in front of the Washington State Capitol building in Olympia, the birthplace of WSOS. Each time you see me in today's program, I'm going to be in a different city in our state. If I'm in your region, be sure to shout out your hometown in the chat box. Thank you so much for joining us in support of WSOS, a first of its kind public-private partnership that brings together private sector investment matched dollar for dollar by the state to launch Washington's high-demand trade, STEM, and healthcare workforce. The Opportunity Scholarship champions Washington students for Washington jobs. Before we get started, I'd like to share a couple of logistics to help you get the most out of this amazing breakfast experience. If you'd like to access the closed captioning, click the CC button at the bottom of your screen. And although we can't be together in person, we're keeping the Opportunity Talks breakfast energy alive. Join us in the chat box during the event. Ask your questions, share your reactions, say hi to your friends. Our staff will also be posting information on how to win fun prizes, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And speaking of winning fun prizes, here's your first chance to win. Join us for a game of Scholar Scrabble using clues provided throughout the program. Over the next hour, words to complete the puzzle are going to pop up on your screen in the order in which they appear on the game sheet, top to bottom. Find the two-word phrase created in the yellow circles to win. If you registered through our website, you should have received a postcard with the Scholar Scrabble game sheet in the mail. Find the digital version on the WSOS homepage. At the end of the program, when you figured out the two-word phrase that's in the yellow circles, send an email to otalks@waopportunityscholarship.org, including your name, mailing address, and the answer. 20 lucky participants will be randomly picked to get a copy of Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime. This book is so amazing. We listened to it on audio tape, and both of my children read it. It is profoundly wonderful, and we all need that right now. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them off in the chat box. We have such an awesome program lined up for you, so once again, welcome. I am so proud to be associated with an organization that is making such a huge difference in the lives of Washington students because I myself am an immigrant and an entrepreneur. I believe in creating opportunity, and I'm so grateful to everyone who did this for me. My father was an orphan who never saw his parents again after the border between North and South Korea went up when he was just 9. My parents and I immigrated from Korea when I was 4, and like many of our scholars, I didn't speak English when I started school. So I know what it's like for the world to feel scary and unfamiliar, to have to go out on your own, to create your own self-sized space in the world. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. I love WSOS because of the huge impact this organization makes in our community. As I mentioned earlier, the Opportunity Talks breakfast is our only fundraiser of the year. The first $100,000 donated today will be matched by the Challenge Fund, and every dollar will be matched by the state. That means every $1 you give is multiplied by 4, quadrupling your gift. Wherever do you get to do that? We want to thank everyone who's already donated, and for those of you who haven't had the chance yet, there are several ways you can give. You can find the link to give in the chat box or on our website. And yes, you can even mail in a check to our office. The WSOS address is on the screen, but also in the chat box. If you have any questions at all about how to make a gift at any point during the program, please send us a chat message or reach out to otalks@waopportunityscholarship.org. As many of you know, WSOS launched our flagship bachelor's degree program back in 2011, supporting students from every county across our state. Then, in 2019, we welcomed the inaugural cohort of the Career and Technical Scholarship recipients who are pursuing associate degrees, certificates, and apprenticeships in 34 community and technical colleges across Washington state. And in this year, 2020, we're so proud to be supporting our very first cohort of Rural Jobs Initiative recipients who are from rural areas and will receive additional financial support to help them access higher education. The WSOS mission is clear: to build pathways to high-demand Washington careers for Washington students. We not only award generous scholarship funding to mitigate the financial burden of college, we also provide critical student support, including peer-to-peer mentoring, which ensure Opportunity Scholars are successful from day one on campus through the first day of their job. Here to tell you more about the impact of this program is WSOS Executive Director, Kimber Connors. Welcome, Kimber.
Thanks, Jane. I'm so excited to share with you how WSOS plays a game-changing role in the lives of thousands of Opportunity Scholars across Washington state. If we've had the chance to meet in person, I bet you've heard me say that I have the best job in our state. And let me tell you why. Our scholarship model is like nothing else in this country. It's an innovative public-private collaboration where industry invests in our community alongside the state. In a time when it seems we can agree on so little across the aisle in politics, this program has bipartisan support. And it's no wonder. There's a lot to like. Washington has a persistent talent gap in high-demand trade, STEM, and healthcare fields. To ensure the continued economic vitality of our state, we need to prepare more people with the post-secondary training they need to compete for these jobs. While we know the importance of post-secondary education, we also know not everyone has the same opportunity to go to college. WSOS is passionate about reducing barriers for Opportunity Scholars from diverse backgrounds. This is because we know innovative industries thrive when they reflect the communities where they're based. We work to ensure the college to career pipeline creates opportunities for those who have historically been left out. 100% of scholars served are from low or middle income families. Baccalaureate scholars are 2/3 first-generation college students and students of color, while 6 in 10 are women. More than 75% of career and technical scholars are first-generation college students, and about half are students of color. Our mission is to prepare Washington students for Washington jobs. So everything we do is not only about helping students complete their education program, but also about launching their career right here at home. We accomplish this by coupling flexible financial aid with support services. Opportunity Scholarship dollars can be used not only for tuition, but to support other cost of attendance needs like housing, food, books, childcare. Our signature support services, the Scholar Lead and Skills That Shine programs, are centered on the power of mentoring, which research demonstrates is critical to the success of students, especially students such as those we serve. Our combination of flexible dollars plus supports has incredible demonstrated impact. According to a recent state audit, baccalaureate scholars are twice as likely to graduate in 4 years when compared with peers. Opportunity scholarships disrupt generational poverty. Opportunity scholars take on less debt, and within 5 years of graduating, alumni are making twice what their families made when they applied. This scholarship has the power to change individuals, families, and communities. WSOS was created to respond to moments like this. The pandemic didn't create our state's workforce crisis, but it has escalated its impact. A recent report from the Partnership for Learning found that COVID-19 will be experienced most acutely by the communities who already face systemic barriers to economic mobility: people of color, young people, and people without a post-secondary credential. These are exactly the communities who will be critical in meeting the workforce demands of the future, and they're also exactly representative of the students we serve. Not only will WSOS help us recover from our current economic crisis, but we will also help Washington rebuild in a more inclusive direction, ensuring that we don't continue to leave communities behind. Opportunity Scholarship is a win-win-win investment. It's a win for industry, who benefit by hiring diverse talent prepared through the program. It's a win for taxpayers, who invest in the economic outcomes of their community. And it's a win for students, who experience the life-changing impact of a college education. Today, we've lined up some of our best advocates to share why they see WSOS as a win-win-win. To kick us off, here's a message from our friends at Boeing about why they see their investment in WSOS as a win for industry.
At Boeing, we are truly proud to be one of the founding partners in Washington State Opportunity Scholarship.
In 2010, we had three main issues coming together. Employers were hiring many people out of college, but from outside the state of Washington. We had rising tuition costs inside the state, and we had many young adults who couldn't afford to get into the education system. Bringing that all together, the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship Fund was created, a public-private partnership to be able to fund the future of these young adults, bring them through the education system, and create opportunity for big employers and small employers alike to get their talent from within the state of Washington.
I don't know what I would have done if I didn't receive this scholarship. That was the difference between being able to afford college and not going to college for me. I did really well in high school. I was salutatorian in my class with a 3.9 GPA, but I still didn't make enough just to bridge that gap. This was the true difference. And now I'm actually a scholar lead and I'm working for Boeing.
Diverse and empowered people are the key to success for Boeing and the success for any industry. So enabling the growth and development of students, scholars within the state of Washington to create pathways to learn skills, to better prepare for the jobs that we have that will make our economy and our businesses grow is key to our talent pipeline.
Boeing's pleased to announce another $100,000 contribution towards WSOS. This contribution is to be used for the Career Technical Scholarships, which will enable diverse young students to pursue the technical side of their education and come to work in factories like we have at Renton or many factories around the state where our existing educational system does not fulfill that need.
Through the partnerships that we've developed with other industries, with the state, and with our education, we have been able to create the future for our scholars.
I would say thank you to all the businesses. Without your help, I would not be where I am. Without this scholarship, I would not be at Boeing. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you, Joelle, Stan, and Carter. My hat's off to the additional $100,000 of support. Even though my company is just a little bit smaller than Boeing, it's really clear to all of us that WSOS is a win for industry. In a year when so much seems uncertain, the proven outcomes of the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship are truly worth celebrating. By giving today, you're investing in Washington's future leaders. Remember, the first $100,000 in donations will be matched 4-to-1, first by the generous support of our Challenge Fund donors, and then by the state of Washington. Investments by the Boeing Company and others demonstrate how WSOS is a win for Washington industry. And these sponsors and supporters of the program agree. The work of WSOS is supported by the outstanding and sustaining contributions of the following cornerstone partners. Thank you to the state of Washington, Microsoft, thank you, Boeing, thank you, Rubens Family Foundation, and Balmer Group. Thank you so much. An event like this one is possible through the generous sponsorship of the following corporate leaders. For the 6th year in a row, thank you to our title sponsor, Costco Wholesale. Thank you to our presenting partners, BECU Foundation and Kaiser Permanente. Thank you to our leadership partners, Battelle, Bristol-Myers Squibb, Kastner Family, Hansen Consulting Group, and Senegal Family Foundation. Thank you to our achievement partner, Providence St. Joseph Health. And thanks to our inspiration partners, Avista Foundation, Oracle, Parametrics, and Real Networks Foundation. We'd also like to thank our initiative partners, Fred Hutch and the Washington State Hospital Association. And finally, thank you to our incentive partners and education partners. This morning would not have been possible without the leadership of many generous friends and supporters. Thank you to my colleagues on the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship Board of Directors. And the success of Opportunity Talks, whether virtual or in person, is due to the support of our Executive Leadership Committee champions and all of our table hosts. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you for all your generous support. One more exciting supporter to share. I am thrilled to announce that we've recently received a $500,000 investment from Balmer Group toward a graduate degree scholarship. Matched 1-to-1 by the state, the resulting $1 million will expand our portfolio of programs across the post-secondary spectrum, from apprenticeships all the way through doctorates. Starting in 2021, the Graduate Scholarship will support Washington residents on their path to becoming nurse practitioners in medically underserved areas. Thanks to the Balmer Group for being an original cornerstone investor in WSOS and then returning as a partner as WSOS launches our newest scholarship program. And now, it is my pleasure to welcome State Senator Emily Randall from Washington's 26th District, who will share why WSOS is a win for the state of Washington and Washingtonians. Good morning, Senator.
Thank you, Jane, for that warm introduction. I'm so honored and excited to be with all of you this morning in this virtual room full of movers and shakers. I'm State Senator Emily Randall from the 26th Legislative District. That's Bremerton, Port Orchard, Gig Harbor, and the Key Peninsula, neighbors to both Olympic College and Tacoma Community College. Like so many of you, I do the work I do, tearing down barriers to opportunity, because I've seen what a chance at higher education can do for a little Chicana girl from a working family in Port Orchard. I was the first in my family to go to college, and it was uncharted and often daunting territory. But the chance to grow my understanding of the world and my place in it unlocked incredible opportunities to fight for my community that I might not have had otherwise. That's why I was proud to help champion higher education investments in 2019 and 2020 to chip away at the barriers so many students encounter. Cost is the biggest barrier, so we expanded the Washington College Grant, helping thousands of Washingtonians see college as an affordable, viable opportunity. Housing insecurity is another barrier. So I worked with students and educators to create a pilot program at campuses across the state to study and address housing insecurity among our students, as roughly half of the students at our community and technical colleges are housing insecure. Eligibility for aid is yet another barrier. So I proudly voted yes on legislation creating the undocumented student support loan program. I will continue advocating for investments in higher education for our current and future students, staff, and faculty. Now is not the time to make cuts to our investments in higher learning. We need to work to increase access and affordability to help our economy and every Washingtonian thrive. The Washington State Opportunity Scholarship is achieving something that few organizations have been able to do in our state and across the country. By removing systemic barriers to economic opportunity, the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship is closing the opportunity gap, ensuring that students of color, women, and first-generation students have an opportunity to access a life-changing education. We as a state believe in the power of this program. That's why we commit to matching every dollar you raise today. Together, we can build a diverse workforce ready to power our economic future forward. Through the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship, we can ensure that the economic opportunities that make Washington a great place to live and raise a family are more equitably shared among all our communities, regardless of your age, income, ethnicity, or race. Thank you for doing your part to make dreams come true for Washington students.
Thank you, Senator Randall. The work we do here at WSOS would not be possible without your support and the support of our amazing legislature. This is my 5th O-Talks breakfast. I've heard from famous authors and some of the most talented corporate leaders in the world. But every year, my favorite part by far is hearing from the scholars themselves. Their stories of grit, courage, and persistence are so inspiring. Every year, I'm reminded how this organization changes lives, how the power of education can change an entire family, and how that can ripple out to change entire communities. Today, you're going to hear from one such scholar, Edgar Santos Aguilar. Edgar's story demonstrates why this scholarship is such a clear win for students. He's wrapping up his senior year at the University of Washington with a focus in industrial engineering. Take it away, Edgar.
I'm so into climbing trees that whenever I'm out of the park, I'm just looking around and be like, that tree is climbable. That tree is climbable. Next time I come here, I'm gonna climb that tree. So I just had that curiosity to always see what's up, beyond my height. And I honestly feel like it resembles kind of like my life story. You're gonna have some broken branches, but you should not let that branch take you down all the way to the ground. You should just keep holding on and find the next one up there to keep moving forward and climbing up that tree. Coming from a family who immigrated from Mexico, it was never easy. I'm blessed to have a mother who is there to, be able to work double full-time just to provide for her children. She constantly is growing. She has that growth mindset. I feel like that's where my grit comes from. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was over at a family friend's house and I saw her father with some blueprints. And I was curious, right? I was like, oh, what's that? What you got there? And he's like, oh, these are some blueprints for a fishing boat. And it involves a lot of parties, whether it's electrical engineers, welding engineers, all that stuff. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I want to know more. And I just felt that sensation of clicking. And from there, that's where I started, pursue my interests within engineering. I'm fortunate I was not blessed for my family to have savings or have someone be like, hey, here's this amount of money for you to go to college. We don't have any of that. And so it was on me that I needed to find funding. I had to find a way to alleviate that stress that my mom would have had to go through. I wanted her to stay focused with, taking care of my younger siblings. And so that's why I put myself to apply to scholarship, and specifically the WSOS scholarship. You're fresh gen, you've never been to college before, your family's never been to college. It's a whole, in a sense, culture shock. I realized that, okay, you gotta step it up and find, someone that's gonna be there for you and support you. I don't think I would have made it if the WSOS community was not there, and community is a family to me. So WSOS overall, the community is like a familia. I finally navigated my way through and be able to obtain my first internship as a manufacturing engineer. And then this past summer, I actually had the opportunity to also obtain my second internship with UPS. Getting to be an essential worker and get to experience like, wow, COVID has really hit people hard. Nowadays, I recently got a research position to work on designing a new face mask for COVID. And I feel like this is really relevant to this day. And overall, it gives me more experience within that medical devices industry, because that's the industry that I want to pursue as an industrial engineer. Whether it's, a mask, a sonogram, or a defibrillator, those devices are going to be used to save lives. I have no ways to say how thankful I am for the scholarship. It's funding, it's community, sense of opportunities, finding yourself, finding your passions. We're not going to take it for granted. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Edgar, for sharing your story and making us all so proud. You are just incredible. We know that you're going to make such a tremendous impact, and you're going to have a bright future ahead of you. And for all the employers in the audience, I happen to know that Edgar's looking for full-time employment come this spring, so now's your chance. I'm sure you're as inspired by all of our scholars as I am. They are the solution to our state's workforce challenge. After hearing from State Senator Emily Randall, our partners at Boeing and Edgar, I hope that it's clear why we say that WSOS is a win-win-win. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce two very special guests, President of Microsoft and WSOS Chair, Brad Smith, for an interview with Trevor Noah, host of The Daily Show.
Well, Trevor, it's great to see you. Thank you for being part of this. This is an event that I am proud of. I think a lot of us in Seattle are proud of because it brings us together as a community to invest in the future of college students, so many of whom are even the first in their family to go to college. And what I wanted to do was just talk with you for a few minutes because I've just been so inspired by the work that you've been doing. You created the Trevor Noah Foundation. You could have picked any issue in the world, and you chose education, and you specifically decided to invest in education and opportunities for students in South Africa, in Johannesburg.
Right.
Share with us why you chose education and what you're learning from that work.
When I look at every opportunity that I've been able to exercise, when I look at every moment or every little stepping stone that has gotten me to a certain elevation in life, I can always trace it back to my education in some way, shape, or form. You know, whether it was reading and comprehension, small things that have helped me to write, to learn how to write, to learn how to put together a script for television. And these are things that I credit to my education, you know, and I think my mother really made sure that she put as much effort as possible and the very little money that we had into getting me into good schools because she knew what a difference it could make in your life. And so one thing that always struck me was how your life could be defined by the school you go to. And I always thought to myself, it's so unfair, and it becomes a cycle that can perpetuate itself where if people don't have resources, they can't go to the best schools. Because they can't go to the best schools, they can't get resources, and then the cycle continues from generation to generation. So for me, it was a really simple case of how can I be a part of the solution to a problem that I don't think should exist? And that is just ensuring that schools have the tools and resources to be the best schools that they can be. Can schools have internet connectivity? Can they have the technology requirements to connect the kids in the school to the outside world and to information that is freely accessible in this day and age?
One of the things that I very much appreciate about you that I think most people don't know about as much is your connection to computers. From early days, it opened new opportunities for you, to today, where you work with our teams and we sort of brainstorm with you, not just around our Surface devices, but around our upcoming Xbox console and the like. But can you share with people, I think they would be interested in, what is access to a computer and knowledge about computers, meant for you in your life?
Well, it's interesting because I think a few years ago, if you said to somebody, do you need a computer? They would have said, I don't think I do. I can just use a phone and I'll get by in life. I think we genuinely forgot how powerful a PC can be. We forgot how it can connect people. We forgot how it enables people to do their work. We forgot how many of the menial tasks we take for granted are achievable when you just have a device. And that's what I learned early on in my life. All I had was my first desktop. And back in the day as a kid, it was just figuring out how to have fun, playing a video game. Then it was teaching my mom how to use the computer to start her own business. It was learning how to create a website. It was learning how to start my CD pirating business where I made music for people, learning how to build the hardware that complements the software and so forth, how to troubleshoot. And all of those things culminated in me using that to spread my comedy around the world back when it wasn't really a common thing to do. And so it all feels like it's come around today because I look at the pandemic and the situation we're in. Now, I use my Surface more than I ever have. Every single day, I'm writing my scripts on it. And then again, you're in the troubleshooting phase of going, How do I find the best software? Do I want to type? Do I want to dictate? If I'm dictating, what's the best software for me? How do we work this? I'm working with other people who are all on a computer at the same time. How do we link with one another? And more than ever, you see even kids of today who have access and how they've been connected to their school. Though, as tough as it may be, they've still been connected. And those who don't have that access have seen how far backwards they can be set back in life. And so I don't take that for granted, Brad. And so in my life personally, in the beginning of my journey with computers, and now again, making a television show from my apartment, I appreciate the power of having computers once again.
Yeah, Trevor, one of the things I know you've seen living in the United States is this long-standing aspect of American culture that we sort of refer to as the American dream, this notion that people, especially with the benefit of a good education, can do things that their parents might not have dreamed possible.
Right.
And people across this country, literally around the world, they see you every day, as somebody who I think, is probably in a very different position from one that you might have imagined 2 decades ago. Are there any words of wisdom, advice that you'd offer based on your own journey, your own experience, that you think are worthy of other people thinking hard about?
For me, I think it's a combination of 3 things. It's how much work you put in. Without the work, you won't get there 9 times out of 10. And so I encourage everybody to work as hard as you can. My brother's writing exams right now for his final year in high school. And I said to him, I just had to sit with him and say, I know it's tedious. I know it feels like it's a waste of time. I know all these things because I've been there, but I'm asking you to do what I didn't do and take it seriously. Because this is only going to happen once in your life, and it could determine the rest of your life. So just try to it's just going to be 2 or 3 months of your life that can play a factor in determining your life. I also think the second thing to consider is luck. I don't take for granted that luck plays a big part in where you get to in life. But the third factor and the first factor, I think, affect how lucky you can or cannot be. And that, for me, the third factor is who you know. And what I really love about university or schools or programs that bring people from different walks of life together is that you meet people who you wouldn't necessarily have met if you just stayed in the silos that you lived in. We've lived in very segregated countries, both in South Africa and in America. And so it's hard for people to cross over. But schools give people that opportunity. Cherish those friendships and cherish the relationships that you create in these environments, because not only are you forming a relationship, but you're learning the world with somebody. And that connection that you share with that somebody might become the thing that one day connects you to the world that you need to be in to become successful. That personal side of it, I think, can be one of the biggest things that determines your life.
Yeah, no, I actually think that's one of the things that we've been really so cognizant of with the Opportunity Scholarship Program, trying to create more opportunities for people to meet more people and forge more relationships as mentors and internships and the like. So I think it's something we easily miss even more when we're separated in our homes as we are at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me just ask you one last question, Trevor. This has been not just a different year from what we imagined, but I think for most of us, it's been a hard year. But as you think about all of the experiences that you've had, that all of us have had individually and societally because of COVID-19, is there a silver lining in any of this that gives you hope for the future? I feel we live at a time when hope is maybe in shorter supply than we'd like.
We've learned so many things during this pandemic, and we've been forced to learn so many things that we wouldn't have before. We've learned how important teachers are, and I hope that we'll never take them for granted. And I hope that after this, we can have serious conversations about how they're remunerated from a state level, where it's not teachers just wanting money. It's us understanding how crucial they are. It's us learning that business can be conducted in different ways. We don't have to travel as much. We don't have to burn as much fossil fuels flying around. If we can do meetings virtually, we should do them virtually. Even the time we spend as people. I think one of my greatest joys has been realizing we don't have to jump on a video call for an hour to do a meeting. It can be 15 minutes. Most meetings are only an hour because they've always been an hour. The truth is, we can talk for 15 minutes, get to the point, and then realize, you know what? I'm going to go back to my work and be more productive. And I think that's one of the last silver linings that I truly appreciate, and I hope we keep it, Brad. It's that I think a lot of companies have come to realize that the workforce can be more flexible in when and how they physically interact with a building. Those are all silver linings for me, and I've really appreciated learning these things.
Well, I think there's a lot of wisdom in what you just said, Trevor. And I want to thank you for joining us. And I want to say it is great to connect virtually in this way for a small slice of time. And I know we have something extra as we're going to transition to a game and a contest that I think may prove that the Washington Opportunity Scholars are probably smarter than both of us put together. But let's find out.
I'm not looking forward to that part of the show, but I will willingly participate.
Let's go for it. Thank you.
Hey, Trevor. I like education too. I am so excited to introduce the next part of our program featuring Brad and Trevor. This segment will be hosted by an incredible Opportunity Scholar who is attending the University of Washington and is a lab technician at Fred Hutch. Welcome Michelle Toe to the virtual stage. Good morning, Michelle.
Hi, Jane, and good morning, everyone. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to play Are You Smarter Than an Opportunity Scholar? My name is Michelle Toe, and I am an Opportunity Scholar. I'm a senior at the University of Washington, studying Geographic Information Systems, Data Science, and Chemistry, and I will be your host for this segment of the Virtual Breakfast, where I get to put Brad Smith and Trevor Noah to the ultimate test to see if they are smarter than an Opportunity Scholar. Good morning, Trevor and Brad. How are you guys doing? Welcome to the game.
Good morning. I almost feel like I should just concede right now and get it over with, but let's see how it goes.
Good morning indeed. I feel like it's good morning now, and then it may not be a good morning after this, but let's see what happens.
All right, now let's get into the rules of the game. I'll ask you a series of multiple choice questions, and each question will be based on college knowledge that you might expect an Opportunity Scholar to know in their STEM program. The answers will correspond to one of the 4 cards that you guys are holding in your hands. They look like this. They are A, B, C, and D. Once I've asked the questions, you will have 10 seconds to choose the correct answer. And when time is up, I'll ask you to reveal your cards. So let's find out if you are as smart as an Opportunity Scholar. Any guesses on who will be winning?
The Opportunity Scholars.
Yeah, I feel like Brad and I will lose. It just depends on how much we lose by. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm. There's also a part of me that is slightly confident, and then I don't know. I'm very torn right now.
Don't underestimate yourself. Well, I guess we'll see where it takes us. So for audience members, if you're tuning in from your office or from home, you can play along and submit your answers in the live chat. At the end of the game, tally the questions you answered correctly and email your final score, your name, and your mailing address to otalks@waopportunityscholarship.org by 5 p.m. today. 20 lucky winners will be randomly selected to receive a copy of Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime. Brad and Trevor, are you guys ready?
You bet.
Ready.
Let's find out if you guys are smarter than an Opportunity Scholar. Starting it off easy, the first question is, how many men have walked on the moon? Your options are A, 8, B, 10, C, 12, or D, 15. You have 10 seconds to select your answer, and it starts now.
Wow. Okay. I'm ready. I thought it was 2, so I'm going to have to... Thank goodness you didn't give me that option.
All right, B and C. Well, Trevor, you guessed really good because the correct answer is C. 12 men have walked on the moon.
I just figured because 12 is a common theme in American history. There's like all the movie, 12 angry men. There's 12 people on a jury. America likes 12. I don't know what it is. There's something about 12 that America enjoys.
Let's move on to the next question. The question is, what planet has the most moons? Is it A, Mars, B, Jupiter, C, Uranus, or D, Saturn? You have 10 seconds. Oh, quick one. The correct answer is D, Saturn. Saturn has at least 82 known moons.
I feel like I've heard someone say that. Someone says like, in all of Saturn's moons, I have never seen anything this crazy. It's a phrase that I've heard.
Saturn overachieves. It has rings
does
and
indeed.
moons.
If chemistry wasn't your favorite in college, this might be a tough one. The question is, what is the symbol for silver on the periodic table of elements? Is it A, Ag, B, Au, C, Al, or D, Ar?
Shouldn't there be one that starts with an S because it's silver?
It comes from a different language, I think. Let's see. I can't remember.
Well, I mean, that makes no sense. We didn't say the game show was not going to be in English. So I'm going to go with R, silver. I think that's what it is at the end. Silver.
D. Good try, guys, but D is not the right answer.
Okay.
The correct answer is A, Ag. Ag is the symbol used on the periodic table for silver. And Ag is derived from the Latin word argentum.
But can I just ask, if it's argentum, shouldn't that be AR?
I mean, I'm just saying, Brett, I'm with you on this one.
I am a chem major, like chem minor, and I do agree it should.
But we still don't get credit for it.
Nope, no credit, unfortunately. All right, the next question. In what year was the sound barrier first broken? Was it in A, 1941, B, 1947, C, 1956, or D, 1972?
This one I know. This is like the first one I'm not guessing on.
This is just a pure guess on my side. So I'm going to go with C.
The correct answer is B. The sound barrier was broken for the first time in 1947.
I think it's a little unfair that there are questions that some of us are getting when we were alive and some of us are getting when we weren't alive. I think that's a little unfair. I'm just going to point
Wait a
out.
second. I was not alive in 1947. I just want to be super clear about this.
On to a biology question. What percentage of the human brain is water? Is it A, 90%, B, 75%, C, 26%, or D, 7%?
Well, Trevor seems very confident. If Trevor says it's B, I'm going to go with him. I have no idea.
We forgot to go over the no cheating rule.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, the correct answer is B. The brain is about 75% water.
That's good, Trevor. How did that? You seem very confident on that one.
I don't even remember how they always go like 75%, water, 75%. I've never heard it said with any other number, 75%.
The next question is, an earthquake that measures 8 on the Richter scale would be how many times stronger than an earthquake that measures 4 on the same scale? Is it A, 2 times stronger, B, 4 times stronger, C, 1,000 times stronger, or D, 10,000 times stronger?
Well, those of us in Seattle live in a place where earthquakes sometimes happen, so I'm going to go with that.
Time's up. Answers are up. Good job, Brad. The answer is D. It is 10,000 times stronger.
That makes no sense. How are you going to go? Then why is it a 4 and then an 8? I mean, that's just ridiculous.
I'll give you the reasoning, though. The Richter scale is logarithmic, so it means that each successive whole number represents a 10-fold increase in power. So there's your answer for you.
Now that you just sound like an opportunity scholar, showing off here.
On to the next question. On average, how many bacteria live within the human digestive system? Is it A, under 1 million, B, around 50 million, C, around 50 billion, or D, over 50 trillion? 10 seconds.
Does it depend on what we ate last night?
Did you have sushi?
So maybe it does. I have no idea. This is a wild guess. I'll go with B.
B and D. The correct answer is D. Trevor got it this time. Yeah. The number of microorganisms in the body outnumbers human cells by a whopping 10-to-1 ratio. We're at the last question. Which one of the following organs cannot feel pain? Is it A, the brain, B, the liver, C, the heart, or deep stomach? Brad's been put on the spot.
I like
Cover
this
your
one.
answer.
Trevor's so confident he doesn't even need to listen to the others. I think he's right.
The correct answer is A, the brain, which has no actual pain receptors. It just detects the pain.
I learned that from Hannibal, because Hannibal would cut people's heads open and then he would eat their brains while talking to them, and then they couldn't feel that he was doing it. So you see, kids, TV can teach you things.
That was the end of the game. It is a tie. You guys both did a great job. You guys are both equally smart and have earned the bragging rights to claim that you are as smart as an Opportunity Scholar.
Yeah, well, something tells me you're going to be getting notification from a number of people who got every one of these right. So I bet you there's some Opportunity Scholars that outperform both of us.
For those of you tuning in at home, email your final score along with your name and mailing address to otalks@waopportunityscholarship.org by 5 p.m. today. Remember, 20 lucky people will be randomly selected to receive a copy of Trevor's book, Born a Crime. Thank you for playing along at home, and thank you to Brad and Trevor for a highly entertaining game. This is Michelle Toe signing off for Are You Smarter Than an Opportunity Scholar? We'll see you next time. Back to you, Jane.
That was so great. But the real question is, when are we going to have a woman on the moon? And who's she going to be? Maybe a WSOS scholar. As our board chair, Brad has given generously of his time and treasure. WSOS has been a long-time passion of his, and he wants to invite you to join him.
Thanks, Jane. For all of us, this is the 6th year that we've had this breakfast for the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship Program. And yeah, each year I always enjoy the opportunity to be there in person, to see people before and after the breakfast. This year we're connected in a different way. I am so happy that we can move forward with this breakfast. It gives us an opportunity to do what I think we need to do, to build for the future in what is obviously a difficult year. I always like to say, I hope this will be the most difficult year in our lives, because that means that every year that follows is going to get better. But let's face it, it has been a hard year. It's been a hard year because of COVID-19. It's been an important year because the killing of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement, I think, has reawakened us to the injustices in our midst. It's been a challenging year for Seattle as a city, for Puget Sound as a region, for Washington as a state. But I do think amidst all these challenges, there's cause for hope. And that hope comes from the next generation of people that we are giving an opportunity to go to college and pursue this kind of career. Every time I get to meet Opportunity Scholars, I come away more inspired. It's why I've been part of this program since it began. It's why I'm committed, so committed to the program today. This past year, my wife, Kathy, and I had the opportunity to dig deeper. We just recently made a $1 million donation to launch, as part of the Opportunity Scholarship Program, a rural initiative, an initiative to help students in the rural counties of our state go get an education in a new way. This is a time when I hope you'll consider doing the right thing at the right level, in the right way, for you and your family. As you do that, think about what you've seen this morning. Think about the difference we are making in people's lives. Think about the new and brighter opportunities that we are creating for their future. But think not only of the individuals that are benefiting, think about what this means for our community and for our entire state. This is a time when I think we need to look to the future and not just commit ourselves to rebuilding Washington State, but to reimagining a brighter future. What better way to start than today? Let's take one step forward together, even if we're all at home. It will create a foundation that I hope a year from now will give us the chance to come back together, to celebrate anew, and look to even brighter things ahead. Thank you for joining me and Kathy thank you for joining all of us to each do what we can.
Thank you so much, Brad, for your incredible leadership at the Opportunity Scholarship. Thank you, Edgar, for representing your fellow Opportunity Scholars and over 10,000 WSOS alumni. Thank you, Michelle, for challenging Brad Smith and Trevor Noah to play Are You Smarter Than an Opportunity Scholar? And a special thanks to all of you online for supporting Opportunity Scholars like Edgar and Michelle. Now is the time that we ask you to dig deep and support us in changing the game for Washington students. As you've heard today, every single dollar donated to WSOS is matched by state funds. This is not just today or for this month. This is the ongoing commitment of the legislature. This morning, we also have a second match. The Challenge Fund will match every donation up to $100,000. For those gifts, your investment is quadrupled, amplifying the impact of your donation. $1 becomes $4, just like that. And that's the kind of math we like. What other investment has that kind of rate of return? We want to make giving as easy as possible, so please take a look at your screen for all the ways to give. If you have any questions about how to make a gift, please send us a chat message or reach out to us at otalks@waopportunityscholarship.org. Thank you so much for being with us on our first ever virtual event and celebrating our scholars. Be sure to mark your calendar for November 9th, 2021, where we hope to see you in person at the Sheraton Grand Seattle next year. Thank you so much for joining us.